Thank you for tuning in. So if you just tune in, make sure you hit uh, the share button and email. Whatever you do, keep the message moving. So there are key important things that I want to talk. If that is very crucial for the election that is taking place tomorrow in La République du Cameroun. And so the key point that I want to emphasize, how can the citizens of La République exercise their right tomorrow in order to take over or to deprive the fraudulent election that is always organized in La République du Cameroun. So the citizens does have a power to take over. And how do they take over? And that will be the key agenda that I'm going to be discussing. And so that is very important that if you are watching, you hit the share button. And if you happen to be awake and you are in La République du Cameroun, make sure you hit the share button, because the message is essential. It's very crucial, it's very important, and I believe that if citizens mobilize the action that I am going to be emphasizing, it will be essential that they take over and become again a new leader in La République du Cameroun. And so that is why I am here to present a strategy that citizens must do. And if you are joining me, and please just hit the share button. The message is very crucial, it's very important. So make sure you hit the share button. And if you are just tuning me live, I am here speaking here in the great state of Texas here in the United States, and I ensure that it is a very crucial, very important message that I am about to deliver for La République citizens to be able to take over their country, that election that is crucial tomorrow. I know the message is coming at the late hours, but if you happen to get hold of this message, make sure you share it to every citizen, and make sure that the message is not stalled. The message must be mobilized and shared as it wider audience as soon as possible, because they need to get this message right now. Very important. And it is a shared sacrifice, and as it's a shared sacrifice, everyone must mobilize and stay on board if La République want to survive. Because imagine having someone in power for close to 42 years. Thank you for joining me, and if you just joining me, make sure you hit the share button. And thank you again for joining me. And if you happen to be in La République du Cameroun, whatever, make sure you hit the share button, and make sure you keep the message running, and email, text, whatever you can do, keep this message afloat and let the message reach a broader, wider audience as soon as possible. And if you happen to be in ground zero, that would be amazing. So make sure you hit the share button. And here again, my name is Daniel, and I am speaking here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States, on the elections in Cameroon. And make sure you hit the share button as soon as you join in. Hit the share button, and it's crucial. You can imagine that you are in a country, you have one person that has been a president for 42 years. That is a draconic leadership. Having someone in power for 42 years. Imagine, how old were you when you learned about Paul Biya? That is devastating. Being in power for 42 years, that is devastating. And that is why I am mobilized this idea, so that the citizens of La République can take over their country and be able to put the country back to economic prosperity. But they can do this if they mobilize themselves, and the strategy that I'm going to lay out for them to utilize for the goodness of their country, and be able to take over power and hand over power to a more rightful, robust leader. And that is what I am coming in to teach La République. So if you are joining me, please hit the share button and I will be glad to bring this powerful message, and that is essential for La Republic. Thank you for joining me, and thank you. Please, if you just join in, please just hit the share button. And the message that I am going to be deliver is essential and is vital. That if you're joining me, make sure you hit the share button, make sure you like, whatever you do, keep the message moving. La République du Cameroun need this message before tomorrow 6 o'clock in the morning. And so therefore, if you're joining me live, it's crucial that you hit the share button. Thank you again for joining me live. I am Funto Daniel here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you join, hit the share button, and thank you again. And thank you for joining in, Cuisine. Thank you for joining in. And please, if you're joining in, please hit the share button. And it's very crucial that you hit the share button. So the message that I am about to deliver is very crucial, because I imagine that you have somebody that has been in power for close to 42 years. Is that not a nightmare? It is. I mean, come on, can you believe that somebody in power for 42 years? And so I'm going to lay out a foundation that citizens of La République du Cameroun must mobilize in order to elect the leader tomorrow. And so I understand that this message is coming late, but however, if this message is spread like a wildfire, there is possibility that that country, La République, can be rescued from the hands of Pobia. And that is where I come in. Thank you, Sonny, for joining in. And thank you, UC, for joining in. And if you join in, please hit the share button. So that is why I come in with this vital and crucial message to deliver specifically to La République du Cameroun on the election that is taking place in less than 6 or 8 or 9 hours from now. So that is why it is essential that this message reach La République, Yaoundé, Douala, Garoua, Maroua, Extreme North, Kribi, wherever. They need this message. And in addition, in addition, the military. The military of La République du Cameroun need to be more civil and respect the integrity of the citizens to exercise their duty. So the essential, I know the military has not been fully defined what is their duty. Their duty is to protect. Their duty is to respect the individual citizens. Their duty is to respect individual to exercise their duty. Their duty is not to protect a single individual, and that single individual is Pobia, and that is very crucial. Military is to protect the integrity of all citizens, irrespective of whether they are from what region of La République du Cameroun. And so the essential is not to protect one single individual, but to protect the citizens to exercise their civil duty. Thank you, NS, for joining in. So that is why it's a very crucial message that I am deliver for the election that is taking place in La République tomorrow in less than 6 to 8 hours. And that is vital. And so that is why I come in here to bring this message. So if you are watching, make sure you share this message. Share to La République every corner. Do not keep the message, because when you keep the message, you cause havoc and harm to La République citizens to exercise their civil right. And so this message that I am deliver here in the great state of Texas is vital, is essential. And so therefore, I urge you watching, make sure you hit the share button and make sure that it reaches the right people. And thank you so much for viewing. Make sure you hit the share button, and that is essential. Because citizens do not know how powerful their right is, because they've been completely suppressed all the time. Their right has been completely suppressed. And that is why I come here to educate the citizens of La République how they can take over their country that has been reigned for more than 42 years by one single individual. And so this message that I'm going to deliver, it provides them a platform for them to take over the country tomorrow election. So make sure you hit the share button. Thank you, Helen, for joining in. Thank you, Business Trader, for joining in. Thank you, Maurice, for joining in. And thank you. Make sure you hit the share button, because the message I am about to deliver is vital, it's essential, and that they must liberate themselves. Can you imagine you are in a country that you have one individual that has been in power for more than 42 years? That is, so it requires a collective message. And how does this collective message can be exercised by La République citizens taking over their country tomorrow? And that is where I come in to deliver that powerful message. So if you are a francophone, so je vous dis que si vous I am not good in French, but I can débrouiller in French. So that is why don't worry about what kind of French I am speaking, but however, get the content and the message, because that is very important. Je vous dis que le message que je dois délivrer aujourd'hui, c'est carrément très important pour les gens de la République du Cameroun. So le seul message que je dois parler, c'est vraiment très important. Et ça se dit que le message que vous écoutez bien et vous transmet le message pour tout le monde, toute la République du Cameroun, que le message est très urgent, est très important, it is very essential. This message is very essential for La République election tomorrow, which will be taking in less than 12 hours. I understand that the message is coming late. I understand the message is coming late, but however, I can assure you that if this message is taken into concrete, then La République will expect to rejoice at the end of the election tomorrow. So how are they going to do it? That is where I come in. That is how I come in, to deliver them the key message, how they can deliver the message. And I know the things that before that message comes, I want to let you understand the military. It is vital that the military observe the civil responsibility of the citizens of La République tomorrow for the elections. It is their civil responsibility. So the military has to stay away. They have to stay aside. They have to be the protectorate of the citizens, not a single individual pobia. Country cannot develop without a collective effort of its citizens. Country cannot develop. And that is why you see how darkness is in La République du Cameroun. For most of you who recently come from Cameroon, you realize that the country is without a leadership. And in a country without a leadership, it is absolutely functionless. A country without a leadership is functionless. And so the opportunity has come. And that is where I come in to deliver how the citizens of La République take over. First is Paul Atanganji. The territorial administration does not work for the interests of La République du Cameroun. Territorial administration minister does not work for the interests of La République du Cameroun. It works for the interest of a single individual, and that is Paul Biya. Elecam does not work for the interest of citizens of La République du Cameroun. It works for one single individual, and that is Paul Biya. So Elecam, and so the military has to make a sound judgment against the election that is taking place tomorrow. And so that is why I am going to guide step by step how the citizens of La République can be able to take over the election tomorrow and make it in a good utilize. So they shouldn't if they should sacrifice themselves tomorrow. And that is the idea I am going to present on behalf of the citizens of La République du Cameroun. So je vous dis que les élections qui doivent les élections demain, c'est très important pour les gens de la République du Cameroun. C'est-à-dire que le message que je dois vous délivrer, c'est très important et très important que vous écoutez la méthode que je vous dis, vous dire que pour les élections demain est très urgent. C'est très important que vous m'écoutez la plan que je dois délivrer pour vous gagner les élections demain. Je ne dois pas dire lequel candidat qui doit gagner les élections, mais je vous dis la méthode que vous devez prendre pour gagner les élections demain. C'est le moment de changement. Parce que vous ne pouvez pas voir un gars, quelqu'un qui soit le président pour 42 ans. Ça, c'est tellement vraiment une chose ça n'existe pas dans un pays. Donc, c'est là où je voulais donner la proposition que vous devez prendre directement and I'm going to give you ideas how you're going to implement right now as you mobilize. So all citizens of La République, so if you get this message, do not keep this message. Share to the least person in La République du Cameroun, wherever if you are watching, make sure you share the message. The key point that I'm going to emphasize is very important. The key point and how and what method they shoot is very critical. And so that is why I come in here to deliver that message which is vital and essential for various people in La République du Cameroun. So it's not a moment to be sleeping. It's a moment to think about a change you can deliver tomorrow in La République du Cameroun in what is called an election. And you can do this change if you follow the strategy I am going to lay out here right now, and you follow the strategy. Is very essential, and you liberate the country. And before I deliver this message, I want the military of La République not to fall into I want the military to exercise caution, because this is about the citizens' liberation. So I encourage the military to exercise caution in the election that is taking place tomorrow. There is machinery that has been put in place to defraud the election tomorrow. But my point is, how can the citizens bypass this machinery that is carrying on this fraud tomorrow? And so that is where I come in to deliver the key message and how they can deliver this message and liberate for once and for all. Imagine having someone for power for 42 years. That is not something we should be thinking about it. But the ideas, you want me to deliver the ideas and how you can mobilize and be able to overcome the election tomorrow. And that is where I come in. So the election, the citizens have the power. But I also urge the military to be cautious and allow the citizens to deliberate their civil responsibility. So tomorrow, the citizens of La République is going to exercise their civil responsibility. For them to exercise their civil responsibility, then the military must exercise caution. They are not going to take a blind instruction. I am more specifically to the military. The military should exercise caution. They are not going to take a blind policy to execute civilians that are attempted to exercise their civil responsibility. Because voting is the responsibility of the citizens to decide. But manipulation by La République, the current regime, has already been put in place. But how can the military allow the citizens to overcome? And that is where I come in with the clear message. Now, I'm sure you just joining in, and my name is Funton Daniel, here in the great state of Texas. And so I am here to deliver the key message, how La République citizens should liberate themselves from the draconic of Paul Biya, who has declared himself as a candidate. He's 92 years old. What else does he want to deliver? On what ground? Because 42 years should be enough for him. Before he became into power in 1975, but prior to 1975, he was the Secretary General at the presidency under Amadou Ahidjo. 1975, he was the Secretary General under Ahidjo. 1975, that prior to 1975, he was a Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic. 1975, he became the Prime Minister of the Republic, and in 1982, he became President. He has been in power till current now 92 or 93 years old. He still wants to run for the president. That is a bizarre. That is a bizarre. And so that is where I come in and how to take over the election tomorrow. So key, number one thing that La Republic must do, number one, is to keep this message shared before 6 o'clock in the morning. This message must circulate within Douala. This message must circulate within Yaoundé. This message must circulate within Garoua. This message must circulate within Extreme North. All this message must circulate today. So when you are watching, don't keep the message, share it. Keep the message, don't keep the message, share it, because it's very essential that they got this message before 6 o'clock, the election starts tomorrow. So what are the key ideas? What are the key ideas? So tomorrow, the election is going to be a peaceful election. I am not going to advocate for vandalism, but I am going to advocate how you can take over the election tomorrow. Because Elecam is a fraudulent machine put in place by Paul Biya and Atanganji. Elecam does not work for the interests of La Republic citizens. It doesn't work for the interest of the nation. It doesn't work for the interest. It is a tool set up to deliver Paul Biya as the next president. And Atanganji threaten people. That's an ex-convict. I am not, I am being honest. That's an ex-convict. Shouldn't have even qualified to get a territorial administration minister. That's an ex-convict. And so therefore, he didn't even qualify to organize such an important election or help such an important position in the ministry. So he shouldn't. But he's there because it's a fraudulent machinery that he is there intimidate the rightful candidate that's supposed to have stand for this election. But I'm here to tell how the citizens of La Republic can overcome all those draconic that have been put in place to rig the election tomorrow. First, all citizens must mobilize to if you notice any election place tomorrow, immediately call your fellow brothers and sisters to mobilize. You mobilize towards the closest location. So wherever there is an election station, you mobilize close to the election. So within the proximity of your polling area that you saw that there's an election poll taking place, you mobilize towards that location. So let's say you don't mobilize towards the longer distance, you mobilize towards the closest location. That is the key point. So once you notice, start calling your friends, send email, text them, do this. As they're texting you, you immediately respond to those texts or messages. That is the key. So tomorrow is a completely preparation to take over your country. And you cannot do this without these ideas that I am sharing. So when you notice that there is a polling station, you mobilize. It's not mobilized to fight. You mobilize to protect that poll election, that integrity. And you form an intensive, allows citizens to vote to exercise their civil duty. But at the same time, you protect those who brought the paper. They cannot count them. You count them and release the result together. Do not allow them to intimidate. That is the key point. Do not allow, the military should not come and intimidate. This is not about Paul Biya. This is not about Paul Atanganji. This is not about this is not about the ministers. This is about the citizens of La République du Cameroun. So when you get up and you found a voting location, you mobilize towards that location. You mobilize towards the closest location where you find a polling station. And you form a defensive barrier, not to fight, but to protect. not to fight against individuals, but to protect. The military need to exercise restraint. The military need to exercise restraint and allow civilians to supervise the election tomorrow. The military needs to exercise restraint in order for the result of the election. So you do not allow ELECAM or territorial administration to intimidate you. You do not allow ELECAM or territorial administration to intimidate you, the gendarmerie to intimidate you. All you do, you stand there. The result must be counted in that location and released from that particular location. That is why it is a crucial that you form a block. That is why it is very crucial that you form a block. Once you see a polling station, you send messages to your friends and your friends that are close to the location to walk towards that location. And you form a defensive block. And once you form a defensive block, it's not to fight against one individual, but to maintain civil restraint and make sure that people are voting peacefully. And you mobilize that the result will be released. And also urge the press to be immediately be available so that each location, the result must be released within that location. Do not send it to the territorial administration. Do not send the result to ELECAM. You release your result immediately. That result will be released at that particular location immediately and should be broadcast live. You have social media. Everything is on the media. So let's utilize those resources to your interest. And that is how you can defeat Paul Biya. I hope you people are getting the context in which this message that I am delivering. That is how the election can be taken over tomorrow. They have no choice. They have to yield to the demand. Whoever you are going to be voting tomorrow to be the president of La République tomorrow, that is how you have to. You also listen to their messages and you know who should be your favorite candidate. And so therefore, you all must mobilize towards the closest location. And when you mobilize to the closest location, you form a defensive. And I also urge the military to exercise caution. Don't be intimidated by Paul Ataganji. It's an empty net. Military, do not be intimidated by Paul Ataganji. He's an empty net. Do not be intimidated by Paul Biya. Paul Biya cannot come and fight you. But you have to allow the citizens to exercise their duty. But you have to protect their location and exercise, except someone is interrupting. That is become a serious concern. Otherwise, the military must protect the integrity of the people. Allow them to maintain and manage the election and allow them to be able to release. Territorial administration cannot release a credible result because they have a voting result that they have already fabricated and ready to release after the election. And so therefore, that release from territorial administration is not credible. So the result that is credible is the one that is released at the voting location, and that must be broadcast live by TV station. That is how you can take over your country. I hope you are watching. And if you are watching, make sure you share this message. This message is crucial for tomorrow's election in la République du Cameroun. Je vous dis que cette élection est très important. Cette élection est très important. Et le message que je vous délivre, c'est très important que vous partagez cette vidéo pour tout le monde. Et si vous n'écoutez pas que je vous dis en anglais, et vous demandez à quelqu'un qui est à côté de vous, appelez votre voisine et demandez qu'est-ce que j'ai en train de parler. Parce que c'est très urgent que vous écoutez le message que je vous dis. Parce que c'est très important pour les élections demain. So, c'est très important que vous partagez ce message. Si vous n'écoutez pas les choses que j'ai en train de parler, c'est très important que vous demandez à un gars qui parle l'anglais, que vous demandez qu'est-ce que le message que je vous délivre. Parce que c'est très urgent que vous avez aux gens d'écouter le message que je vous délivre à ce moment. Parce que c'est très important pour les élections demain matin. Parce que vous ne pouvez pas avoir un gars qui est le président pour 42 ans. Ça, c'est trop. Ça, c'est trop. Tu avoir une personne qui est le président pour 42 ans, ça, c'est trop. Ça ne peut pas exister en la zone anglophone. C'est ça que vous dites que le moment que vous pouvez changer le pays, ça c'est le moment pour changer. Et pour changer, c'est pas pour que vous voyez le port à Tangadje, pour ménager les élections, ou bien Elenkam. Elenkam c'est le machine, we call in English a fraudulent machinery that is set up by the system. Let me recap the point again. If you got this message, make sure you share. Do not keep the message. It's vital. This message need to go as soon as possible. So don't keep the message. Share. When you just join in, hit the share button. Let it go to the widest audience as much as possible in La République du Cameroun. And so therefore, I also urging the military to exercise caution. This election is for the civilians to express their rightful choice to decide who should be the president. And in order to do so, citizens must step up. Citizens must step up. For the citizens to step up, the military must exercise restraint. For the citizens to step up, military must exercise restraint and allow civilians to exercise their civil responsibility. And how can the civilian exercise their civil responsibility? One, they must share the message. They must move straight to the voting location. They must move straight to the voting location. Once you identify a voting location, whether in Douala, whether in Bonaberi, wherever Bonamosadi, wherever you see, or Bepanda, whatever location, or Yaoundé, or Bili, Breketeri, wherever, you mobilize to the closest poll location. Citizens of La République, exercise your civil responsibility. In Garoua, move to the closest poll station. Move to the closed location. In North, extreme North, move to the closing thing and form a barrier. You are not going there to fight. You are not going there to punch each individual, but you are going there to supervise, and that the result of the election, at the end of the time, as indicated, you make sure that the results are counted. You do not allow a link up to detect on who should, what time, when the result should be released. No, the result must be released in that particular location. And the media must be open 24 hours to receive the results that are counted. Because they're going to give the location, call the media, and give the location where the poll is taking place and the result that was counted. Do not leave. Please provide food to the location. If you are... So there is a collective effort for the entire La République tomorrow. So everyone shouldn't be working tomorrow. Tomorrow should not be working. So you should dedicate tomorrow's sacrifice for the goodness of your nation. And that is where I come in. So there should be no election. So some people that will be working at the poll location, watching and counting, make sure you get some food and deliver to them so that they watch and so that the result they get should be released straight to the media, not to Paul Atanganje Territorial Administration, not to Elenkam, because they are fraudulent machine. They are not for the interest of the country. They are not for the benefit of the interest of the nation. They are for the worst state of the nation. And so to elect a leader, you must exercise civil responsibility, and it is a collective effort for all citizens of La République du Cameroun to exercise those civil responsibility tomorrow. And how do they exercise those duties? Oh, sorry. Well, because I'm moving, that's why I thank you for sharing that information that the noise in the background is making. I'm sorry about that, but I hope you understand the key point that I am emphasizing. I hope you understand. So the civil responsibility for La République to win the election tomorrow is a collective effort for every citizen of La République tomorrow. And so tomorrow should be declared a complete state of ghost town for election result. So everyone should take responsibility in La République du Cameroun, whether in Douala, whether in Yaoundé, whether in Garoua, whether in Ngandele, wherever. They need to exercise this civil responsibility. And the military must exercise civil restraint and allow the citizen to manage the election. They cannot allow territorial administration to manage the election because it's a fraudulent machinery that has been put in place. And Elencam is another fraudulent machinery that has been put in place. So the citizen has to take its power, because citizens has to take up its power and exercise those power. And how can the citizen take over its power and exercise? So the military should be a protectorate and allow the civilians to exercise those civil responsibility. And how do they do it? So if you notice any polling station within Douala, Bonamoussadi, anywhere, call your friends, text your friends, let them move towards that location. Text your friend, call them, invite them, let them move towards location. And be responsible, because when you see a text from your friend that election is taking place, just move to that location. You guys secure that location and make sure that you allow people to vote freely. And when people are voting freely, you secure the vote. And the military should exercise precaution. They should allow civilians to exercise their civil responsibility without disturbing the peace, except there is someone that is violating, or whether it's from the CBDM group that is coming to intimidate. Civilians, do not allow CBDM to intimidate you. You must protect the integrity. You must protect, and you have to be there. CBDM cannot come and destabilize your integrity because they want their citizen to be a candidate. No, you have to protect the integrity. And how do you protect that integrity? You mobilize and secure the area. And all vote must be counted and released. Media should be available and release the result. You give your poll location, the amount of people that voted, and the amount of vote counted. And the media will register them and release them as soon as possible. And police, gendarmerie, army, custom do not interfere for the citizen exercising their duty. You protect them. And so CPDM should not come and intimidate. Citizens, you have to make sure that you protect the integrity. So you make sure that every result is counted and released, not by territorial administration because it's a fraudulent machine, not by Elencam because it's a fraudulent machine. You release your result in your location and give the result until you heard the media broadcast accurate result. You call whichever media, let them broadcast the accurate result, and you are listening to them broadcasting it. You know that your result has been registered and that you have integrity corrected. Do not allow territorial administration to say, oh, they're going to release. No, they do not interfere with such a decision. So I urge you to be ready to win your election tomorrow. I hope this message is very essential. Share this message so that it reaches La République du Cameroun. Share to the common person. That message is very important. I've also sent a voice message in a WhatsApp. If you come across any of the message, make sure you share to the least person in La République du Cameroun so they get this message accurately. And thank you again. This is Funton Daniel here in the great state of Texas here in the United States. Thank you for watching.